Okay, fine. So in our last session, we have covered until how to read data from an Excel sheet. Okay, we started with what is Apache POI. Apache POI is used mainly for reading data from the Microsoft files, which is mainly from Excel. Okay, and what are the two main dependencies that we use for this one, which is POI and POI-OXML. So okay, so these are the two main dependencies that we use. Okay, so how do we basically read the data from an Excel sheet? So first we will create an object for XSSF workbook for XLSX files, and for XLS files we use HSSF workbook, and then we get the access to the sheet, and then we get access to all the rows of the sheet, and we get access to a specific row from all the rows, and we get access to all the cells, and then we access data from the cells. Okay. Okay, so the same thing I have given it here, where we create an object for XSSF workbook, and then we create an object for XSSF sheet. Okay, by using get sheet method on this workbook object created. Okay, so and then we create an object for a row by using get row method on the sheet object that we create, and then we use get cell method on the row object. Okay, and get the cell object, and then we use get string value or get numerical value based on the value that the cell contains, and we get the value, or we can also use data formatter. Okay, so that's what we have seen. Okay, so yeah, so we have seen this one, and if we want to use XLSS, I mean whether the extension is whether XLSX or XLS. Okay, so first if you want to work with both the sheets instead of writing separate programs, if you want to work with the files with both extensions, then we will first find out the extension by using file name utils. Okay, we have seen this one, file name utils dot get extension. Once we get the extension, then we compare it with XLSX or XLS. Based on that, we create an object for workbook and sheet. Basically, this workbook and sheet, they are the parent classes for this XSSF workbook, HSSF workbook, and also sheet is the parent class for XSSF sheet and HSSF sheet. Okay, and based on this, we'll create objects for the these ones. I mean XSSF workbook or HSSF workbook, and also XSSF sheet. Basically, we create the objects for this parent classes for book and sheet, and we assign these individual ones to this one. Okay, so now again this the remaining procedure is same. We create row object, cell object, and we read the contents from the cell object. Okay, this is we have seen, and yeah, reading data from a cell. These are the two ways that we have. One is we can use use get string cell value, get numeric cell value, or get boolean cell value like this, or we can use data formatter. If we use data formatter, first we have to create an object for the data formatter, and then we can use the data formatter object dot format cell value and pass the cell object, so that we'll get string value from the cell, whether it is a number or a string or a boolean, anything, it will be converted into a string value, and we will get the string value. Okay, so the same thing we have seen. Okay, now in the next one, we have seen how to read the data from an entire row. How do we read the data from an entire row? Same thing, first we'll create an object for the workbook, and then we'll create an object for the sheet, and then we'll create an object for the row, and then on the row object we use iterator. Okay, iterator, and then we get the values of each and every cell within the row. We have seen this one. Okay, now how do we get the data from the entire sheet? The same thing, again we have to create an object for the workbook and also the sheet, and then we use iterator on the sheet so that we get all the rows. So we loop through each and every row, and on each and every row again we use an iterator so that we get all the cells, so that we'll get we read the data from the entire sheet. So this is what we have seen in the previous session. Okay, now let me open this PPT. The PPT is already open. Okay, Now, whenever whenever we want to use the data that we read from the Excel into any automation script, okay, then we generally read the entire data into a map. Okay, for example, let's say this is the data I have, like first name, last name, age, company, salary, manager, and date of joining. This is the data I have. For example, if I can read this data, like okay, let's say this one is our first test case. This one is our second test case, third test case, fourth test case. Okay, and if I can read the data into a map like this. Okay, what is a map basically? We have seen that in the collections framework. What is a map? What is a map? Map works on key value pairs. Okay, so map works on key value pairs. So if I can read this data in this entire data into a map like this, for example, so this is my first test case. In the first test case, I have this whole data, which is Robert Smith 39 IBM, so like this. And this is my second test case, and this second test case contains all this data, James Smith, Infosys, etc. Okay, and each and everything again, like each and every test case is again a key, another map, which is key value pairs. Okay, so the first name is Robert, last name is Smith, age is 39, company is IBM. Okay, so this is like a map of maps actually. Okay, do you understand this one, guys? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Abu.
Okay, so you guys understand this one?
Yeah.
So basically, we are trying to read this entire data into a map of maps. Okay, this is one. The first one is this entire thing is a map where the key value is this one, which are like numbers in the sheet, which are nothing but our test case numbers. First test case, second test case, like. And again, each and every value of this test case is again another map, which contains the column name and the actual value. First name Robert, last name Smith, like this. Similarly, for the second test case, first name James, last name Smith, like this. Okay, so if we can read it like this, then we can easily read this data from this map and use it in our script, automation script. Okay, so let us see this one. Okay, so the first thing that we have to create is we have to create a map of integer. Okay, and the second one is another map. So we have to create, first we have to create a map of integer, and second one is another map. Okay, and this other map is again string comma string. Okay, because we are using this column name and the actual value. So this one, map of integer comma map of string comma string. So first we have to create a map of integer comma map of string comma string. Okay, so now we have to create an object for this workbook. We have to create an object for the sheet, and then we have to create we have to iterate through each and every row. Okay, when we iterate through each and every row, okay, then we'll create a map of string comma string. Okay, and we read this all this data. I will read like each and every row data into this map of string comma string, and we add this map of string comma string into this original map. Okay, that is what like our intention is. Okay, so then we create like another map with map of string comma string and loop through each and every row in the sheet and add the row contents using the column names and row values as keys. Okay, so now let us do this one. Okay, so if I go here, okay, I have already like created an Excel sheet here. Let me open this one. Open with okay system editor. Okay, if I open this one, this is my data. Okay, now let me create a new program. Class here 04 data into a map. Okay, so now okay, so what is the first thing I have to create? I have to create a map of maps, which is map of integer, okay, comma, map of okay, string, comma, string, let me make it as data equals to, okay, I'm saying like, new hash map, creating a hash map of, okay, then integer comma map of string comma string. Okay, so the first thing I have done is I have created a map. Okay, and what is the next thing I have to do? I have to create a file input stream first for reading, for creating a file input stream object. I mean, first we have to create a file input stream object for the workbook, because workbook uses this file input stream object. Okay, now let me create file input stream fis equals to new file input stream. So we have this one data, in the data folder we have it, right? So data slash data into map dot xlsx xlsx. So we have created a file input stream object. Okay, the next thing is, okay, so we have to add the throws declaration. Fine. Okay, once this is done, then the next thing is we have to create an object for XSSF workbook. Okay, so XSSF workbook, I'll say workbook equals to new XSSF workbook of, we have to pass this file input string object. So let me import this one. Okay, so now I have imported this one and I have to add this throws declaration. Okay, now once this is done, so the next thing we have to do is we have to create a sheet object. Okay, so XSSF sheet equals to, okay, so we have to use this workbook object and then dot get sheet, okay, and the sheet name is sheet1. Okay, now let me import this one. Okay, I have imported XSSF sheet. So once this is done, then we have to iterate over this sheet. Okay, so in this case what I will do is I will create an iterator object which will return me rows. Okay, so I'll say rows equals to sheet dot iterator. So we have like, I think like, now this one is the latest one that is changed to row iterator. So earlier like, we used to have like, just the iterator only. Okay, so the program like, that I have shown you, we should have this. I'm not sure, but let me just iterator, let me have use this one. Import iterator from java.util. Import row. Yeah. So yeah, this iterator method is still there, but I'm not sure. Let me. It was not showing this one because, okay, first I think we have to import this one. Okay, then only it will show you this iterator method. Okay, sheet dot. Yeah, it is not showing it here, but that method is still there. But you can also use this one. Okay, row iterator also you can use. Okay, now once this is done, okay, then okay, so now we have got like an iterator for this entire rows. That means we are getting like an enter. So now we'll use while method, while rows dot has next method we have to use. Okay, while rows dot has next, then we can say row equals to, okay, rows dot next. So now we are getting each and every row into a row object. Okay, so now once this is done, then what we have to do, we have to create an iterator object on the for each row to get like each cell content. Okay, so now let us create iterator of, we'll get like cell objects now. Okay, iterator cells equals to sheet dot, okay, sheet sorry, not sheet, but row dot iterator, not rows but row dot iterator. Okay, so now let me import this cell. Import cell from SS. Okay, this one. Okay, so now once we get like all the cells, then we will use again while. Let me print this one, all the cells content initially. Okay, while cells dot has next. Okay, now cell equals to cells dot next. Okay, so now we get like each and every cell. Okay, so once we get this one, now we have to create a data formatter object. Okay, so data formatter df equals to new data formatter. Okay, data formatter df is equal to new data formatter. Okay, yeah, so we have created an object for this one. So let me import this one, import data formatter. Okay, so and then we'll say system.out.println df dot format cell value of cell. Okay, let me run this one first. Okay, and make sure that like it is printing like all the values. Okay, so good, like we are able to get like all the values. Now let's so we have already created a map of maps object here, but now here what we have to do is we have to create a map of string comma string, because we would like to read each of this rows data into this. Okay, so we have to use map of string comma string. Okay, so now here what we'll do is we'll create a map of string comma string. Okay, and we'll say like each row data is equal to new hash map of string comma string. So this should be option. Okay, so now we have created new map, so that we will read like each of this data into this map. Okay, so now what we will do is like we have to add the column name. We have to add the column name as this key, and we have to add the actual values as this value. Okay, this is what we have to do. Okay, so how do we do this one? Okay, the first thing is like let's uh, when the value of this one is I is not equals to 0. Let me open this Excel sheet. Okay, okay, I have closed this Excel sheet. Okay, let me open this one again, data into map, open with system editor. Okay, so this one should be the key and this one should be the value, like that. Like this one should be the key, this one should be the value. That's what like we have to do. Okay, so while we are iterating, we have to check if it is the first row. Okay, if it is not the first row, then we have to read the values. Okay, let me show you that one. Okay, so what I'm doing is like if, okay, I'm creating something like this. If, okay, and like here before that like I'll use int row number equals to 0. Initially the row number is 0, and with each and every iteration I am increasing the row number to 1. Okay, so if initially the row number is 0, if the row number is not equals to 0, then only like add it to the map. Okay, if the row number is not equals to 0, okay, if the row number is not equals to 0, then create a map. Okay, and get like each and every cell value. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to add the cell value with the column name as key to this map. Okay, let us do this one. Okay, now we are printing the cell value. I'm just like what I'm doing is I'm just saying that each row data dot put. We have like put method, and we have to use like the key value and the string, the key and the value. So here the key is the column name we have to use. So how do we get the column name? How do we get the column name? Simple. Like, we have this each row cell, right? So we'll use the sheet name here. Okay. Let me sheet dot. Okay. We have the sheet object, right? From the sheet object, we have get row, and we can give the row number here. Okay. So which is 0. Okay, we can give this row number, and then we have the get cell of, we have to give the cell number here. Cell number starts from 0 again. So what I can do is, within these cells, okay, within these cells, I will declare like something. Sorry, this row number should be okay outside of this one. Okay, because initially this row number should be outside of this one, and again this row number plus plus should be outside of this one. Okay, we are just incrementing the rows like each and every time. And within here, I'm creating a cell number here. Int, okay, cell number is equal to, initially it is 0, and with each here like I'm incrementing the cell number each time, cell number plus plus. Okay, now here I can use get cell number of, okay, get cell of cell number. Okay, so now I get the key here, but this is again we have this one as a cell object, get cell of cell number, we get a cell object, so we have to again use df dot format cell value. Okay, in this one, what did we use? Okay, so df dot format cell value. Okay, it dot get row, but this is smallest sheet number, so I'm just formatting this value into a string. Okay, once this is done, then I will get the actual value. The actual value, like from this one is, again it is simple, df dot format cell value of cell. Okay, so I will explain you one more time. Okay, now I am putting like each and every row data into this map. Okay, and then finally once this is done, let me print this like each and every row. Okay, so each row data. Okay, so let us see. Okay, so each row data I have created inside this one. So let me create it outside this one. Okay. Okay, let me comment this system data object println. Let me run this one. Run as Java applications. Okay. So if you see this one, initially this is empty string, but for each and every value, like we are getting this one. So instead of doing it like this for each and every cell, so I will create map object outside of this one. So, and I will also do it like this one, outside of this one. Let me print this one. So let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, so the first thing, the first one is like an empty value, because we are not like if it is 0, like if the row number is not 0, then only we are getting these values. So initially when it goes into the column headings, it won't get anything. That's why it is printing an empty map. After that, when the row value becomes like 1 2 like that, then it reads like each and every value of that particular row, each and every cell of that particular row, and uses the corresponding column. So here date of joining, first name, company, salary, manager, age, and last name. Okay, so these are all the this is how we can read it into a map. Basically, we just now like we have read it only into a map. We haven't read the entire thing into a map of maps actually. Only till now we have got it into a map. Do you guys understand this one so far? It is a little bit confusing here. So basically what we are doing is, let me show you this one more time. Okay. 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 So first we have created a map of map which contains integer which is used for uh, the test case number, and another map which is for the actual column heading and the actual values. Okay, that's what we have created. And then as usual we have created an object for the sheet, and we have created an iterator on the sheet so that we can get access to all the rows. And initially we have created that the row number is 0. And now we have created a loop here while rows dot has next. Okay, and we are getting each and every row, and then we have created an iterator on each and every row so that it gives me each and every cell in that particular row. So I have created a cell number as 0 initially. Okay, and then I have created a map of maps within this one. A map which contains string and string. Basically the first string is the key, which is nothing but the column heading, and then this is nothing but the column value. Okay, so while this cells has next, that means we are looping through each and every cell within the row. So and we are getting each and every cell value. Okay, and now what we are doing is we are saying that if row number is not equal to 0, because the first row is nothing but it is the column headings, right? So if row number is not equal to 0, then data formatter df is equal to, again we have created a data formatter here, and we are putting the first row, that means which is nothing but the column name and the value into the map. Okay, so the first row, how do we get the first row values? We have the sheet object, sheet dot get row of 0. It will give me the first row. Okay, and then get cell of cell number. Okay, cell number is nothing but here we have initiated with 0, right? So the cell number, this is 0. These are all cell numbers 0. These are all cell numbers 1. These are all cell numbers 2. Like that. So we have incremented initially with 0, and then we are incrementing the cell number. We have initialized this one to 0, and each time we are incrementing this one. So initially the cell number will be 0. Okay, so the first row, I mean if you see here, get row of 0, this is this is a fixed one, hard coded value that we are using, because it is always the first row we have to get it. Okay, so the first row and get cell number, so it will get first name. And what is the value that we get here? We get df that format cell value, because when it goes to the first row, it gets the first row, this value. Okay, like that we are getting each and every time the column number and the actual value, and we are adding it to the this row data, each row data. Okay, so now we have added this one. Okay, okay, let me count this one. Okay, now we have to add this entire thing, each row data, into this map of maps again. Okay, we have to add this to this map of maps, which is data. Okay, so now after each cell has been we read each cell and we add it to each row data. After this one we use data dot put. Okay, and we have the row number here. Okay, so row number we have initialized this one to initially, which value the we have initialized 0. Okay, so we use the row number here, row number, which is nothing but our test case number, and then we are adding each row data to this one. Okay, so let me just get this one. Okay, so instead of using if row number is not equal to 0, we can use it outside of this one. If row number is not equal to 0. Okay, so if row number is not equal to 0, then we are reading each and every cell in that particular row, and then so let me put this one also. If row number is not equal to 0, then only we have to add that row to the particular row object. Okay, now let me print this data object. Okay, data. Let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, something went wrong here because even though like, we are reading that entire data and we are putting this data again into this one. Something is wrong here. So let me just see this one. So we have created a map object for each row. Once this is done, then something is wrong here. So if row number is not equal to 0, okay, fine. And then we are looking for each and every one, and then we are adding it to the data. Okay, so here what is happening? So okay, sorry, so not here. We have to put it after this one. Okay, let me run this one. Run as the application. But again, it is still like showing as 0 equals to like this. It is showing. So again, we have to put it in the row number itself because in the row, if the row number is not equals to 0, then only something went wrong here. Okay, data dot put each row. Okay, we have to use the row number int row number equals to row number is not equals to 0. Then only we are going into this one, else has next, and we are adding each row of data. Okay, again the same thing. Instead of defining it here, if row number is not equal to 0, we have to define this one here. Once we define this one here, then we have to move it here. One is Java application. Again, the same thing, look now we are getting it here. So what is happening here? So if the row number is not equal to 0, while rows dot has next, okay, fine. And if row number is not equal to 0, we have created a map, which is each row data, and then, okay, so this one should be here. We have created int cell number is equal to 0, and then we are looking for each and every one to find. Okay, this is still creating it like this. Okay, int cell number is equal to 0, while cells dot has next, cell is equal to cells dot next. Fine, data formatter is equal to df, and then string cell value is equal to df dot format cell value of cell, which is fine. And then we are using each row data dot put of format cell value sheet dot get row of 0 dot get cell of cell number. So this is also fine. Okay. So this cell number, we should increment this one within this. Okay, fine. But still, like we have some issue here because if the row number is not equal to 0, then only we are adding this each row data. But why we are getting this each row data again like this? And also if the row number is not equal to 0, okay, then we should not increment this row number here. This one also fine. This one correctly. Okay, let me come from the beginning. Okay, so the first one is I have created a of uh, map of maps, which is integer, comma map of string, comma string. And the next one is I have created a file input stream, and then I have created a workbook object, and then I have created a sheet object. Okay, after this one, what I have done, I have created an iterator on the rows, and I have initiated the row number as 0. And the next one is while this rows I have created has a next row, then I am going to that next row. Okay, and then I have created an iterator on the cells. Okay, so that I can loop over each cell. Okay, and then I'm saying like if row number is not equal to 0, then map of string comma string, each row data is equal to new hash map of string comma string. So this is fine. And then I have initiated int cell number is equal to 0, and while cells has next, and then I'm reading like each cell object. Once I get like each cell object, okay, then let me do one thing, like instead of creating like this object like each and every time, what I can do is like I can put it here. I don't want to create like this data formatter object each and every time, but I want to create it like at once, and I can use that data formatter object here. Okay, so now once this is done, then I can use like cell is equal to cells dot next. Okay, and then each row data is equal to df dot format cell value of okay, sheet dot get row dot cell number of this cell number. So where is the cell number like that we have created? So this is the cell number that we have created. Fine, comma df dot format cell value of cell. Okay, df dot format cell value of cell. Yeah, so this is fine. And then what we are doing is we are incrementing the cell number. So each time we are getting each cell value, and we are adding it to each row. Okay, and once that is done, then I am using like uh, data dot put. Okay, once this is done, okay, and then okay, so this is fine. The only thing is I am printing it here. I think like okay, let me put it here. The entire data object, like instead of using it like in the while loop, instead of using it in the while loop. Yeah, so this while loop is completed here. So let me run this one, run as Java application. Should work correctly now. Okay, so we have 1 is equal to date of joining. Okay, so let me copy this entire thing and see like if it is uh, reading it correctly. Okay, so notepad, and I'm putting it here, and in this one let me come to home. Okay, so this is the first one that is red. Okay, and this is the second one, and this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. Okay, so now this is working fine. Okay, so let me explain you like this one more time. So okay, so what we have done is first we are creating. Okay, so if you see this one, since hash map, it is not like it doesn't show the values in the order, because if you see this one, so the first we are getting like the date of joining, first name, company, like this. But if you see the actual values are first name, last name. So instead of like using a hash map, you can also use a linked hash map here. So linked hash map, it will store the values in the order of insertion. So let me create it as a linked hash map. Okay, and the next one also, here also I'll use a linked hash map. Okay, linked hash map stores the values in the order of insertion. So if I run this one, now we will get it in a correct order. See the first name, first test case, first name, last name, age, company, salary, manager, date of joining, all these things. Okay, so you can use linked hash map also. Okay, okay. So what we did was, we have created a map of maps. The first map, it is it contains like any integer which is nothing but our test case, and another map which contains our actual data, that means column name and value. Okay, this is what like initial map that we have created. And then again, as usual, we have created a file input stream object and an XSSF workbook and an XSSF sheet we have created, and then we have created a data formatter object. Now we are iterating over the sheet. Okay, iterator row, which will give me an iterator of rows object here. Okay, and now I have created an integer row number is equal to 0 initially, which will increment it, okay, at the end of the loop each time. Okay, so the row number initially becomes 0 and then it becomes 1, like that. While rows has next, I have created a row object. Rows.next, it returns me a row object. Now I'm creating another iterator on top of this row, which will give me each and every cell. So iterator of cells is equal to row dot iterator. So now what I'm doing is I have to loop over this these cells, but before that I want to loop it like only through each and every cell if the row number is not equal to 0. That means if it is not the first row, because we don't need the first row, we need it only for the keys. Well, the actual values are from here, okay, where the row index is 1, which is row number is 2. Okay, so I'm saying that if row number is not equal to 0, then create a map of string comma string, which will hold the column names and the actual column values. Okay, so this is what it is. I have created another map, and initially I am declaring the cell number as 0, and now I am looping it through over these cells. While cells has next, cell is equal to cells dot next, I am getting like each and every cell value, and I am adding the data to this each row data dot put, okay, sheet dot get row of 0 dot get cell of 0, cell number. Okay, this cell number, like initially we have it like 0, right? Each and every time we are incrementing it here. Okay, so get row of 0 means it will get me this one, the key value. I'm getting it like just like sheet dot get row of 0, and then get cell of cell number will become like the first time it becomes 0 and the second time it becomes 1, like that. So and like that we will get like all these column names. So each and every time we are adding this column name, and then we are adding the actual cell value, because we are iterating from here, right? So each and every time we get the cell object. So df dot format cell of cell means it will give you the actual value. So like that I'm adding it to each row data. Once that is done, okay, after we loop through one row, okay, we are adding that each row by using this row number to this actual data, which is a map like that we have created in the beginning. Okay, so like this we can get this entire data into a map. Do you guys understand this one, or any questions? Everyone? Ankur, did you
God,
yeah,
yeah, understood, but I think need more practice to get it in in line.
exactly. So yeah, just practice this one, okay, then you'll understand. Initially, like this logic might be a little bit confusing, okay, but just
Yeah.
practice this one, okay. Once you practice it like slowly, then you first understand like the maps concept from the collections framework.
Okay.
Okay, just go through
Okay.
the a single map of maps. These things we have already discussed it in the collections framework. Okay,
Yes, Subbu.
so the first thing that we have done is we have created a map of maps, but each time again you have to create another map, because this map of map accepts another map, right? So this is a map of maps that we have created initially, and with in each and every row we have created another map of the just for the column name and the value, and we are getting this one first, and then we are adding it to this initial map of maps. That's what we are doing.
Okay.
Okay, so now, okay, so now we are getting this map of maps. Okay, now let me okay, so in this one, like we have created this entire thing into one class, but generally what we'll do is in our actual automation script, we create like separate classes, like just as a common functions classes, just to read the data and put it into a map of maps. Okay, so let me do that one. Let me create a new package here, and the new package is, let's say, no. Okay, so let me create a new package here, and the package is, let's say, common functions, or I'll say Excel utils. Yeah, I'll say like common functions. I have created a class called common package called common functions. Under this one, I am creating a new class called Excel utils. Okay, Excel utils. I have created a new class Excel utils. Okay, under this one, I am creating a new method called public, and which returns a map of integer comma, okay, and map of string comma string. Okay, I'll say get data method. Okay, so let me import this one. Okay, let me return initially, let me just return a null statement. Okay, so that you don't give any error initially. Okay, so now what I have to do, my intention is whenever I call this method, okay, it has to read the data, read this data. Okay, so let me copy this one, control C, control V. Okay, okay, this data. Okay, I'll say separate class. Okay, so this one. Okay, so now whenever I call this function, okay, in this get data method within this Excel utils, it has to return me that map. Okay, so let me copy this entire thing. Let me copy this entire thing. Okay, I'm copying this entire thing. Okay, and I'm putting it in this method. Okay, and finally I have to new file. Let me add throws declaration, and let me add throws declaration. Okay, fine. Okay, add a return statement. Okay, return data. Okay, finally we are returning this data. Okay, so we have created like a separate class which contains a separate method get data, and when I call this one, it return me that entire thing. Okay, so now I have to, okay, finally before returning, I have to close this workbook, and I have to close this file input stream object also. So before returning this data, okay, workbook dot close. I'm closing this one, and fis dot close. I'm closing the file input stream also, and then I'm returning the data. I just moved this entire thing into a separate class. You got this one? Or any questions on this one? I just moved this entire thing into a separate class. Okay, now how do I call this one? I will create an object for this Excel utils in this data into a map. Okay, so I'll say Excel utils equals to new Excel utils. Okay, I have created an object for this one, and I will import this one. Okay, now what I will do, I will create an object for this map. Okay, map of integer comma map of string comma string. Okay, I'll say data equals to, okay, I have sorry, this is integer. Okay, so data equals to, I will call this method Excel utils dot get data. That's all. Okay, now if I run this one, okay, so now it is returning me the whole. What I did was I just separated this one into this. Okay, now if you see again this is hard coded, but whatever the workbook and the sheet name that I pass, I want to read that data. So what I can do, I can use the strings here in this one, which is string, which is file, and another one is string, and which is sheet. That means I will pass the file and also sheet, and whatever the file it is, it has to read the data from there. Okay, so now the same thing file and sheet, right? So here in this one, data into separate class, right? So here I will define it as string file equals to, let me, string sheet equals to this. Okay, so now if I go here, let me copy this one. Okay, and then I'll put it here. Okay, and the sheet name is sheet 1 anyhow, so sheet 1. Now I will pass this file. Okay, file sheet from here, and I will use this file and sheet here. This is file. Okay, and this is sheet. Okay, so something is, oh, okay. Again, we cannot create the same sheet and sheet, because this is the sheet object that we have created with the same object name. So instead of this one, I'll say sheet name, and this one is let's say file name. So this one is file name. Okay, and this one is sheet name. Okay, now we are good. So what we are doing is we have created a parameters for this method, and we are passing those parameters from here. So now whatever the sheet I will pass it from here, it will return me that data. Let me run this one. Okay, Java application. Okay, so I'm getting this there. Similarly, I have some new user data is there here. New user data. Let me pass this new user data dot excel sx. Okay, so here, so if I pass new user data dot excel sx, if I and I think the sheet name is also sheet 1 only. Let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so one is equal to full name, mobile number, email ID, password, status. Okay, like this, I'm getting the entire data. Let me pass another one, which is vehicle data. Okay, let me pass this vehicle data here. Okay, VHSLV vehicle data. Run as Java application. Okay, so vehicle title, vehicle brand, vehicle overview. So do you understand this one? So what I have done is I have just moved it to a separate class, because this is common function. Okay, this is where the methods we use, the methods concepts that we learned in Java. This is where we use. So we have created a separate class for this one, and we have created a separate method for getting the data, and we are passing the file name and sheet name to this one. Okay, so that it will just get the data into a map, and it will return that maps. And here in this class, okay, we are passing this file name, and we are capturing that into this map of integer comma map of string comma string. And now we can use this data in our, what is that, in our this one, in our automation script. You got this point? How to create a common function for reading the data from Excel, or any questions?
Yes,
Okay, so
got you.
first understand this program, how we are reading the data into a map. And it's very easy, just to split it into a different class. That's all. We are just doing it in a separate class here, because this is common function for everything. Whatever the data that you want to read, whatever the Excel sheet is, just pass this file name and sheet name, and you will get the data into a map. That's all. Okay, everyone understood this one? Suman, Ramesh?
Yes,
Okay, just practice this one, because, and moreover, you can use the same program in your actual automation scripts also. You can use this same program in your actual automation scripts. Okay, fine. Now let me
so
yeah.
just a quick one. So it's a common practice that we have to get the Excel data to the map and do this way.
Yes.
Rather, we read it from the Excel and use it in the automation scripts.
No. Okay, what we do is when we read the data, we don't do it read the cell each and every time from the Excel, and then use it in the automation script. Okay, we
Okay.
read that entire data once into a map. That's all. And then we close,
Okay.
and then we close that that Excel sheet, close that Excel workbook, and we use
Okay.
that map. Because sometimes we may have issues with the Excel. If you keep it open to read that entire the data each and every time to use it in your automation scripts, generally Excels they will give you some problems. So what we do is, whatever the data that we need from the Excel, we just read it from that Excel into a map, and then close that workbook, close that Excel.
Okay. Okay.
and use that map.
Okay.
Okay, that will give like better results. That's why what we do is like in this separate Excel program, we are just reading the data into that map and we are closing that workbook. See, we are reading this entire data into a map, and finally like we are just closing this one, closing this workbook, and then we are returning that map and we use that
Okay.
map.
Got it. Thank
Okay, you got it right, the concept here.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So now we did this one. Okay, so now let us see a program on this weekly one. I have already created a program for you guys. Okay, let me in the Selenium training, like if you see here, reading all the data into a map using separate class. Okay, so we have all reading all data into a map, reading all data into a map using a separate class. Okay, and then we have a post new vehicle is there. Okay, I'll show you like how to use this data from the map, okay, to post a new vehicle in our car rental script. Okay, let me just copy this one and put it here. Okay, so this is like post a new vehicle. So what it does is basically what we are doing here is yes, this is a car rental website, right? So I'm just going into localhost car rental slash admin. Okay, I'm going into this admin and then I'm logging in admin, and then we have like password is test at the rate 12345 invalid details. Okay, something is admin, so capital T EST at the rate 12345. Okay, yeah. So once I log into this one, okay, then what I'm doing is I have to click on these vehicles and then click on post a vehicle, and then enter the title, select a brand here, enter the overview, enter the price per day, and then select the type of fuel type, and enter the model year, enter the seating capacity, and then enter like all these images, and select like anything like air conditioner or anything, and click on save settings. Once you click on like save settings, let me yeah, once you click on save settings, it will show you like that like the here a message that the vehicle is posted successfully. Okay, like that we have to post like three vehicles. Okay, so let me show you this one. Let me copy. I think like I already have this Excel operations, yeah, data. So vehicle data, like I already have this one. Let me open this one. Open with, okay, system editor. Okay, so this is, so before going into this one, first let us see like the normal program like that we have created. So if I go into this one, so I'm just like what I'm doing is I'm creating a Chrome driver that I'm setting up the property driver.chrome.driver, and then I'm creating an object, driver object, and then I'm maximizing this one, and I'm using implicit wait. Implicit wait is like 10 seconds I'm using. Okay, and then I'm opening this admin. Okay, once I open this admin, now here like if you see how many screens I am navigating here, this is the first screen I am navigating, right? This is the first screen. Okay, so I'll use admin test at the rate 12345. Okay, and now this is the second one I'm using, the navigator. Okay, here I'm clicking vehicles, and then I'm clicking manage vehicles. Okay, and sorry, vehicles and post a vehicle. Okay, and this is the third screen I'm working. So there are three screens. So in the page object model, I have created like three things. Okay, let me copy like those also from here in this one, uh, car rental admin pages. Okay, yeah, let me copy this one. Selenium bash. So I think we have already have like car rental admin pages. Where is that one? Car rental PK05. Yeah, PK05 car rental admin pages. So anyhow, let me, it's already there here in this one. Okay. So I have created like three page object model pages here. First is login page. If you see the login page here, so I have created a constructor here, which is car rental admin login page. Okay, and then I'm returning the elements for username, password, sorry, username, password, and login button. I'm returning all these three things. Okay, I'm returning all these three things. One is input at the rate name is equal to username. So you know this one, right? I'm just like since it takes a lot of time, I have already created like all these things for you. Okay, and then the admin navigator page. On the navigator page, we are clicking on vehicles and post a vehicle. So those are the two things. So I have created like these two things here, and then the next one is post a vehicle. On the post a vehicle, like we have a lot of things here, like vehicle title, and then like brand. Select a brand. Okay, and then we are selecting a brand. After that, vehicle overview. Okay, price per this is the price, like price per vehicle. Okay, and then the fuel type, like this, like I have created a page object model for this entire page. Okay, finally I'm checking like this one vehicle posted successfully message also. Okay, so these are all the things, these are the three pages that I have created here. Okay, so now in the actual post a new vehicle, I have created an objects like for this three page object model pages, which is car rental login page, navigator page, and then post a vehicle page. Okay, now using this car rental login admin login page, okay, I'm accessing the username, I'm getting the username text box, password text box, and login button, and I am entering this username password, and I am clicking on the login button. Okay, and then on the navigator, we are clicking on the vehicles link, and then I'm just like created because it is taking like some time to populate the post vehicle, so I'm using an explicit wait here, and then I'm clicking on the return post vehicle link, I mean post vehicle link. And once that is done, then I am using the third object from the page object model, which is post vehicle, and I am entering like all the values, like the title. I'm clicking on the drop down, and I'm selecting BMW from there. Okay, like this. And when it comes to images, it is a simple text is equal to file. Text is equal to file object. Like if we inspect this one, okay, so input type is equal to file. So what we can do, we can directly use send keys on this one. So, and I'm storing like some images here. If you see the images, okay, I have stored these images like somewhere here. Okay, Selenium training images, car1.jpg, car2.jpg, like this. I have all my images here. Okay, car1, car2, car3, like this. So I'm directly passing the path using send keys method. Okay, once this is done, then I'm selecting like the different checkboxes, like air conditioner, power door lock. So whatever like the checkboxes that we have here, I'm selecting those checkboxes. Once I select those checkboxes, finally what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the save changes button. So save changes button, I'm clicking it. Okay, once I click that one, then I have to see the vehicle posted successfully message. So what I'm doing, I have already in the page object model page, I have already captured that one. So post vehicle that, okay, return, okay, return vehicle posting success message dot size is greater than 0. I'm just checking that like whether that element is there. If the element is there, then I'm printing that vehicle is posted successfully, else vehicle not posted. Okay, and finally I'm quitting. So this is a normal script, like without using like any data driven testing or like Excel sheet concepts. Okay, without using anything, I have just yeah, created a normal script. Okay, so do you guys understand this script initially? I have just created a normal script, and I have used page object model here.
It is
Okay,
clear, Subbu.
okay, yeah. Now let us let me run this one first, and then we will convert this script, okay, by using like by getting the data from the Excel sheet and posting it into this. So let me run this one, run a Java application. Okay, so it entered. So it is like entering like all the data, and then just page for 2 seconds, and then just saying, see, vehicle posted successfully, which you saw that message, right? Vehicle posted successfully, and then finally it closed this one. Okay, you got it, like until so far, like any questions on this one? we just created a normal script. We haven't used like any data driven testing yet, but we just created a normal script at this moment. Okay. Okay. Now let us convert this one into a data driven testing one. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me get some water. I'll come back. Okay. So yeah, am I audible to everyone? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now let us convert this one. Okay, which will get the data from the what is this one, from whatever the function that we have created here. Okay, this Excel utils. Okay, and then we'll use the data into this. Okay, so let me copy the same thing into a new one. So post new vehicle to this is what I have created, let's say. Okay, so now in this one we have created and we have opened this sheet. We have created model pages objects we have created, and we have logged in successfully. Okay, we have logged in successfully, and then we are clicking on vehicles link. Okay, and now let me go into this Excel sheet. Let me show you this. So we have this Excel sheet where we have this vehicle title, vehicle brand, vehicle overview, price per day, fuel type, model year, seating capacity, and the images paths that I have given for all the 5 images, and then air conditioner. Okay, these are the check boxes. So here how we have to do, how do we click on the check box. Okay, if it is yes, okay, if it is yes, click on the check box. If it is null or not no or anything else, okay, then don't click on that. Click on the checkbox. So we are for the first car we are selecting air conditioner, power door locks, anti-braking system, and brake assist. Okay, like this. And for the second car we are selecting air conditioner, anti-lock braking system, and power steering. So like this, have created this data. Okay, so you understand this data, right? Are any questions on this data sheet for everyone? Okay, fine. So now we have created this data. Okay, now let's go into this one in this post vehicle new to. Now let us create an object for this Excel utils and pass the vehicle data and the sheet name, so that we will get that entire thing into a map. Okay, so now let me go here, or we can do it in the beginning of this one itself instead of working it here. Let me before setting up this one. Okay, I'm creating an object for this one, Excel utils. Okay, Excel utils equals to new Excel utils. Okay, I have created class like this, and then let me import this one. And now what I will do is, okay, I will use Excel this object Excel utils dot, okay, get data. I have to give the file name and sheet name. So the file name is, I have it data slash vehicle data dot xlsx. Okay, this is my file name here. So if you see here, okay, this is where it is, vehicle data dot xlsx under the data folder. So data slash vehicle data, vehicle data, vehicle data dot xl. Okay, again the sheet name is, okay, sheet 1. Let me just make sure. Yeah, this is sheet 1. Okay, so now I have passed, I'm calling this Excel function. Okay, Excel function that we have created, and then we are add throws declaration. Fine. Okay, so now we are, but we have to capture this one into a map basically. So map of, because it returns a map of integer comma map of, okay, string comma string. Okay, and then I'm giving it a name as data. Okay, so now let me So this is integer. Okay, and let me import the map. Okay, so now we are calling this one and we are getting the entire thing into this data. Okay, so let me print this data first to make sure that we are getting the entire data. So system.out.println, okay, data, and before starting this one, let me comment this whole thing so that it won't get executed. Okay, so let me just run this one to make sure that we are getting all this data run as Java application. Okay, we are good, we are getting this entire data into a map. Okay, so now let us use this data in our this one. So how do we use this data into this? Okay, so we got this data, so we are entering. Okay, yeah, so BMW number, first one is title. That means we have to get this vehicle title first. Now first enter only one row data, and then we will see how to enter this all rows data. Okay, first one is vehicle title. So in this one, what we have to do, we have to use data dot get. Okay, first we have to get the row, right, which is 0, data dot get of 0, because if you see here, this is the data here. Okay, this is the data, so not get of 0, it should be get of yeah, get of 1, we have to use. Okay, because let me show you this one more time so that you will understand this one. Let me go here, let me go into this one. So Control A, Control V, image 1, image 2. So this is 2. So this is 3. Okay, so this is what the map I have. This is a map I have. Okay, so how do I get first this first data, and this name is data. How do I get this first data? This is the key for this one, right? This is the key. 1 is the key here. So if I use data dot get of 1, I will get this entire thing, right? I will get this entire thing. And now I would like to get the vehicle title. So how do I get the vehicle title? I will simply use dot get of, okay, vehicle title. Okay, and then I will get this title. Similarly, driver dot get one of get one dot get of vehicle brand. I will get this brand. You got this? So we are getting like a map of maps. I'm just getting first row, first data using data dot get of 1, and then I'm using another get method, because again this is another map here. So it's a map of maps. So I'm using another map here, another get again get method, and I'm using the actual key value here, which is vehicle title, so that I'll get RD latest 2-door. Okay, so let me copy this one into this. Okay, and here I'll put this one. I'll put it here. Okay, now I have passed the vehicle title, and then I'm clicking on the drop down button, and then return vehicle list item BMW. So I have to use the vehicle brand. Okay, so let me use this vehicle brand here. So if I use the vehicle brand here, it should be data dot. Okay, so in this one here, it should be vehicle brand I'm using. Okay, so like this, let me pass let me first modify this entire thing, driver.get one. I will update the column names here. Okay, and the seating capacity is okay. Now let me update it like vehicle brand I have updated. The next one is vehicle overview. So let me go into the Excel sheet and let me get so vehicle overview. I'm getting this vehicle overview and then get vehicle overview. I'm using the column name and then I'm using price per day and this is the price per day. So I'm just copying this one and then vehicle price per day and then fuel drop fuel type. I'm using this copying this column name and then I'm using this is the fuel type and then like model year. Okay, so model year I'm copying this one and I'm putting it here in the model here. Okay, and then the next one is seating capacity. I'm keeping this seating capacity and then I'm using it in the seating capacity here and then images. So this is image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4, image 5. So I'm using image 1. Okay, and then you know okay, so this is image 2, image 3, image 4, image 5. Okay, so once this is done, now it comes here the condition part like an air conditioner. Okay, yes, if it is yes, then only it has to click. Otherwise, it should not click. So I'll say like okay, if okay data dot get of 1 dot get of okay. So now the first one is air conditioner. So let me take this air conditioner here and I'll put it in air conditioner. And how do we compare like two strings? Anyone? How do we compare like two strings? Am I audible to everyone? Yeah. So how do we compare like two strings? We use equals method. Equals are equals ignore case. Okay, so I'm using equals ignore case and yes. Okay, if it is yes, okay, this air condition is yes, then only select this one. Okay, otherwise don't do anything. So we are saying that if this data in the data sheet like for this air conditioner is yes, then only return air conditioner checkbox dot click. So we are clicking on that one. Okay, similarly for everything else like we have to use this one. Okay, I'll update like these values. Okay, so now okay, so I have created like conditions for everything, but I have to update. The first one is air conditioner, second one is power door locks. So power door locks, let me copy this one. Power door locks. Okay, so power door locks. Okay, and the next one is anti-lock braking system. Okay, so this is anti-lock braking system. Let me copy this one, and this is anti-lock braking system, and the next one is brake assist. Okay, so this is the brake assist. So let me copy this one, Control C, and then also brake assist. Okay, and the next one is power steering. I think like power steering, like I haven't captured that one. Driver airbag. Okay, the next one is driver airbag. So let me capture this driver airbag. Okay, driver airbag. Okay, and the next one is a passenger airbag. So passenger airbag. Okay, and the next one is power windows checkbox. So power windows. Okay, the next one is CD player. Next one is central locking. So let me go here and central locking. And the next one is crash sensor. Crash sensor. And the next one is leather seats. Okay, leather seats. So we have created all these conditions. So you understand this one until this point. So what we have done is we are just using this separate Excel class that we have created, and we are passing this sheet name and the sheet path and sorry, workbook path and the sheet name to that function, and we are getting all the data. And now once we get all this data, since this is a map of maps, first we are getting the access to the first map using data.get of 1. Okay, and then again we are, since that returns a map, again we are using another this get method, and we are using the column names here to get the different values. So data.get of 1 dot get of this vehicle title, vehicle overview, like this entire thing, everything we are getting. Okay, so and here, okay, we are using the conditions here. If, because this is a checkbox, right? So we have to have some value yes or no. So if it is yes, the column value, the value that we are getting from the particular column is yes, then only we are clicking on that one. Okay, any questions, guys, so far? Are you getting the concept? Like, it might be a little bit confusing until you practice this one, but once you start practicing this one, you'll get it. Okay, but
Okay.
are you understanding the concept behind this one? How we
Yes,
are
Subbu.
using the data. Okay, now we got it, but there is a problem here. There is a small problem here. We will see that one. Once we execute that one, then we will come to know the problem. Okay, let me execute this one first. Okay, let me execute this one. Run as Java application. Okay, to open the page, maximize. Okay, so it entered all the data, and now, okay, it is not going further. Okay, somewhere it failed. So what is the problem here? If you see, okay, it is throwing a null pointer exception. Java.lang null pointer exception cannot invoke string dot equals ignore case of string, because the return value of java.util map get of object is null. What it is saying here is, okay, if you see here in this Excel sheet, we have the data until this one only. Okay, for power steering we don't have data. Okay, so it is returning a null value. It is returning a null value, and it is trying to compare this driver, this power steering, right? So for power steering, there is this power steering. Okay, we don't have the power steering. I think we have, yeah, driver airbag, because anyhow we are not checking power steering in the script. So it gets the driver airbag, right? So this is the driver airbag. So what it is giving, it is returning a null object. Then the null object is trying to compare it with yes. That is where it is giving problem. See, string dot equals ignore case of string. So okay, the string dot equals ignore case of string is java.null pointer cannot invoke this one on a null pointer object. Okay, when it returns something as null, we cannot compare it with a string, because this is null. That is where it is throwing an error. So how do we avoid this error? Any idea for anyone? What we can do to avoid this error?
Exception handling.
Exactly, we have to use exceptions here. Okay, so what we can do is we can just try to put it let's put it in a try catch exception. So where should we put this one? This entire thing where we are using this data. Okay, so put it in a try catch exception. Okay, try, okay, until this one. Okay, until we are entering this one, and yeah, we can put it like until this one. Okay, try. Okay, then I'll say catch. I don't know like what kind of exception. So I'll use this exception object directly, exception e, and then system.out.println. I will say e dot get message. So get message e dot get message. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I'll just put it in a try catch exception. All these things, like wherever I am getting the data, the data.get of one. So this entire thing, because if this data is null, okay, then it will throw an error exception, and we are handling that exception so that it won't stop executing. Okay, so let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so enter the data, and okay, so it posted the vehicle successfully and it didn't fail because we have caption. See, again, it is just like printing the message here in the catch block, and it is proceeding further. Okay, so here we are using the concept of exceptions, what we have learned in the Java tutorials. Okay, so we are using like if you see, we are using like different concepts here. Here one is like here we have created a separate function, and we are calling that method. So we are using like the concept of methods here. Okay, and the next one is like we are using like exceptions. We are using map of maps, like how to get the values from the map of maps. All these ones, like what are the concepts that we have learned in Java, the same thing like we are using it here. Okay, you got it now, like how to like read the data and use it in our automation scripts. Or any questions so far? It might be like you might have a little confusion here, but like once you start practicing it, then it will be clear for you.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, okay, now we did it like only for one thing. Okay, only for one row we are doing it like in data.get of one. That means we are using it only the first row of data. Okay, we are not using like these two rows of data. So if you want to like so what is data driven testing basically? What is data driven testing? Anyone? What is data driven testing?
Actually, we have to import the values from the Excel sheet to the
No.
front end.
In the general sense, what is data driven testing in our manual testing? Let's put aside like this one, this automation testing. But in our manual testing, what is data driven testing in my in the functional testing as point of view?
Basically, you have to validate the data it is getting correct or not.
No. It's basically we have to validate the same functionality with multiple sets of data.
Okay.
Okay, that is data-driven testing. See, we verify the same functionality, but with multiple sets of data that we verified. That is data-driven testing, right? So here, like in this case, like so for the true data-driven testing, we have to use this entire data. So how do we do that one? In this one, how do we do it?
By using using Excel sheets.
Yeah, we are using Excel sheets, but you see here we are using Excel sheet, but right now we are doing it like only for one row. I want to do it like I want to take the data for all the rows, and I want to post like all these vehicles. How do I do it?
By using a map, linked map.
We are already using like maps here, right? Basically, we have to
Yeah.
create loop here, for loop.
Okay.
Okay, that's how like we can get like each and every row data, and we can post it into the vehicles page. Okay, so now
Yes.
let me show you this one. So we have created this one, and we have logged in. Okay, now uh, mm, Yeah. So where should we create a for loop? Okay, once the vehicle is posted again, okay, once this vehicle is posted again, it has to click on this vehicle's link, and it has to click on post vehicle link, right? So before this clicking on this vehicle link, we have to create a for loop. So this is return vehicles link dot click. Okay, this is where, like, we have to create a for loop. So I'll say for so how many times, like, I have to loop through this one. Whatever the number of rows that I have in this one, so many times I have to loop, right? So
Yeah.
here, like, I have something like, I have read this entire data into this map, right? So how do I get, like, the number of rows in this one with this map object? How do I get this one? I can use data dot size method, right? Size method will give me the number of elements
Yeah.
that I have. So I have three elements in this one, 3 rows. So I use less than data dot get data dot size. Okay, I plus plus. Okay, and I have to use it until I get this post vehicle message is there. Okay, so once this is done, then I will close this for loop. Okay, so I'm until the vehicle is posted, and then I'm checking, like, whether the vehicle is successfully posted or not, and then I will go into the second row of data again. Okay, and now it takes the second row of data. Okay, now, okay, here, like, I have hard coded get of one. Okay, so I have to update this one. Okay, update this one to, what should I say? I should say I. If I use, like, I, initially it will fail because it is trying to get of 0. Get of 0 is not there in our map. We have something like get of 1 only. So I will use I plus 1. I plus 1. So initially it will be 0. So 0 plus 1, get of 1, it will become get of 1 initially. You got this point here? Are any questions?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just,
Yes.
I just put it in a for loop for I is equal to 0, and then here I'm using get of I plus 1. So now I will update this everything, like, get of. Okay, so get of 1, I'm replacing it with get of I plus 1. Okay, this is what I'm doing. So let me just search it here. So get of 1, replace, find next, replace. I'm just using replace all, so I have replaced the entire thing. Okay, now if I run it, okay, it will loop through all the rows in our data sheet, and it will enter, like, all the data. Let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, it logged in. So first time it is first row of data it is entering. Okay, and the vehicle is posted successfully. Now again it is entering the second row of data. Okay, it is posted. Now again it is entering third row of data, and it is posted successfully, and now it closes that one. So here, like, vehicle posted successfully, vehicle posted successfully, vehicle posted successfully. Okay, this is how we will do data driven testing. Okay, so what did we see so far? So far, like, we have seen how to get the data from a single cell from an Excel sheet. Okay, and then we have seen how to get the data from an entire row, and then we have seen how to get the data from an entire sheet. Okay, once we get that one, okay, and then we have seen, like, from the entire sheet, what else, like, let me just, okay, so reading the data from an yeah, we have seen, like, how to read the data from XLS or XLSX files, okay, from a cell, from an entire, from all data. And then we have seen how to read this entire data into a map. Okay, and how to read all the data creating a separate class. Okay, so we have created a separate class, and then we called the method in that class and then we got the data into your map, and then we have seen the basic how to post a new vehicle in car rental project. Okay, that script we have seen, and then we have seen write data to Excel. Okay, so we have seen the basic one first, and then we have seen what is the next one that we have seen. We have entered just one row of data from Excel into this new vehicle data driven testing, and then we have seen how to enter that entire data in the Excel sheet. Okay, so that is what we have seen so far. Okay, so you understand, right? How we are coming, step by step here.
Yes, Subbu.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so just practice this one. Okay, because and even in your actual projects, real-time projects also, you can use the same functionality. Excel uses functionality here. You can use the same functionality. Okay. Okay. So any other any questions so far? What we have covered on this exercise. This is a very important one because people will ask you questions on how do you do data-driven testing in automation, or how do you read data from an Excel sheet? So like that people will ask you. Okay. Any questions so far on this one?
No, Subbu, I think it is clear.
Okay, fine. Okay, so the next concepts we have are how to write data to Excel by creating a new workbook, and also how to write data to an Excel to an existing workbook. Okay, so these are the two things we have, and we'll cover it tomorrow. And tomorrow we also start with what is this one? Excel operations. So extend reports will start, and then log Portia 2. Okay, and then test ng will start. Okay. Okay, yeah, fine then. Just yeah. Sorry, any question?
No, 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 no. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow we'll start but let just practice all these programs. Okay. I have already this documents I have already uploaded. I will upload this recording also to this to our Google Drive. So just practice this one. If you practice it, then only you will understand. Okay. Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. Thank you guys. I'll talk to
Okay,
you
Subbu.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you, Suki. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.